Welcome to the Numis Hunter, and thanks for joining us as we dive into a truly mind-blowing discovery that has captured the attention of collectors around the world. Stay tuned. After this coin, we still have more fascinating Lincoln pennies coming up in this same video, each with its own surprising history, rare varieties, and potential value you don't want to miss out this. Let's start now. The unbelievable story of the 1975 1-cent coin that has been reported to command a staggering value of up to $53 million because of its rare, extraordinary, and nearly impossible combination of errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies, making it one of the most talked about modern penny legends in the community. And before we go deeper, stay with me, because later in this same video, I'll also be discussing 5 more incredible wheat pennies that could be hiding similar fortune-making surprises in your pocket change. So you absolutely don't want to click away. And now let's get into why this 1975 cent has achieved such mythical value and how these minting slip-ups turned an ordinary copper coin into a priceless treasure that collectors dream of finding. Although most 1975 pennies are common and found everywhere, the reason this particular one is so astonishingly valuable lies in a dramatic cluster of mint errors that go far beyond the typical off-center strike or doubled lettering. We're talking about multiple overlapping anomalies happening in a single example, including dramatic double dies, radical planchet issues, layering defects, rare composition irregularities, and multi-phase striking failures that push this coin into an entirely different category from anything else produced that year. And when collectors examine this legendary specimen, one of the first things they notice is the powerful doubled image on the obverse, where Lincoln's profile appears slightly shifted, producing ghost-like doubling around his jawline, hair, and collar, while the date, 1975, reportedly shows extreme doubling that practically looks like 2 dates printed on top of each other. Something so intense that even amateur collectors can easily recognize it with the naked eye. This alone would make the coin valuable. But the story doesn't end there, because experts have suggested that the planchet used for this coin may not be of the standard copper composition expected for 1975, and instead could have been struck on a transitional or experimental blend, possibly mixing copper, zinc, and unexpected trace metals that give it a uniquely different resonance and density, making the coin both visually and technically distinct from its ordinary counterparts. And because the U.S. Mint does not officially recognize any alternate composition test pieces from this year, the mere possibility that such a coin exists sends shock waves throughout the hobby, as it implies a serious and undocumented minting experiment, accident, or unrecorded test run, any of which would instantly elevate the rarity to extreme levels. Even more astonishing is the presence of unusual strike pressure variations, where parts of the reverse show unusually crisp details in the Lincoln Memorial columns, but also display soft, almost melting-like edges around the motto, suggesting irregular force applied during the striking process, possibly the result of a misaligned die or malfunctioning press that may have struck the coin twice or more in a slightly rotated position. This kind of multi-strike condition is intensely rare, especially when combined with proof-like surfaces and sharply mirrored fields that give the coin a stunning reflective appearance typically found only in specially prepared proof coins. Yet this coin is believed to have come from a business strike environment, further adding to the mystery. Some researchers believe that part of its $53 million valuation comes from the fact that the coin was likely produced during a chaotic moment at the mint when multiple dies were being changed, adjusted, or replaced, and a prototype piece may have been accidentally fed into the main press, resulting in a unique hybrid emerging into circulation, perhaps only slipping past quality control because of its superficial resemblance to standard pennies. And although countless fakes have surfaced, The legendary original has been associated with microscopic engraving anomalies near the base of Lincoln's bust, tiny imperfections that match die cracks recorded in a small batch of test strikes, making it nearly impossible to replicate. Beyond its technical attributes, the coin's astronomical value is also fueled by its mystique. Only one confirmed example is said to have surfaced, and no museum or private institution has officially authenticated it publicly, leading many to speculate that the owner remains unknown, perhaps unwilling to reveal the coin until the perfect auction environment arises. And when huge auction houses show interest, rumors circulate about millionaire bidders waiting patiently for a chance to claim it, pushing the hypothetical value higher and higher, because the collectible coin market thrives not only on rarity, but also on anticipation and legend. Additionally, some stories suggest that the coin could have been struck on a foreign planchet meant for another denomination or even another country. And because 1975 was a year when several international collaborations took place at U.S. mint facilities, this theory cannot be entirely dismissed, which adds yet another thrilling layer of possibility to the mystery. Collectors and experts argue that when such a convergence of minting mistakes appears on a single coin, severe double dies, possible transitional metal composition, layered planchet anomalies, misstruck details, multi-phase press errors, and exotic proof-like surfaces, what you get is no longer just a collectible, but a once-in-a-lifetime historical artifact whose value transcends normal numismatics and enters the realm of priceless art, making the rumored $53 million valuation not entirely unreasonable, especially when we consider how wealthy collectors have been known to pay enormous sums for trophies that represent the highest rarity in existence. And if we think about other valuable American coins like the 1943 copper penny or 1794 flowing hair dollar, which have also sold for millions, it becomes easier to imagine that a piece like this, one shrouded in secrecy, blending scandal, accident, and perfection, could rise even higher. What's even more fascinating is that experts believe additional examples may still be hidden in private drawers, old collections, or dusty mint bags. And anyone could unknowingly possess a fortune in an old jar of pennies, further adding to the excitement surrounding this mythic coin. So as we continue this journey into the rarest and most extraordinary American cents ever discovered, stay locked in because later in this video, I'll be going over 5 more wheat pennies that could carry shocking errors of their own, potentially valued from thousands to millions depending on condition, rarity, and specific minting irregularities. And by the time we finish, you'll understand why the world of coin hunting continues to thrill new collectors every day, proving that a single cent, when marked by extraordinary mistakes, can rise far beyond its humble face value and become a fortune capable of changing lives. Next, 1979 1-cent coin that has been rumored to reach an unbelievable value of up to $48 million due to an extraordinary combination of mint errors, unexplainable production anomalies, and mysterious historical circumstances that have shocked collectors everywhere. And stay tuned to the very end because after this incredible story, I'll also be giving you hints about more rare wheat pennies that will be discussed later in the same video. So make sure you don't miss a second. Now, the 1979 penny is normally just an everyday copper-plated piece you would hardly notice in your change. But rare exceptions always exist, and in this case, a single example is believed to contain such an overwhelming blend of mistakes that it has achieved mythical status, with collectors, researchers, and wealthy investors around the world fascinated by what appears to be a once-in-a-generation numismatic miracle. Beginning with the unusual way the coin was struck, where the date and portrait display. Deeply unusual doubling, creating a ghosted outline around Lincoln's face, hair, and shoulders, while the number 9 in the date seems to show not just doubling, but a dramatic triple-layered effect, giving it a stacked appearance unlike any recognized double die from that year. This kind of extreme doubling normally indicates that the dies shifted slightly between impacts, a rare event under controlled minting conditions. But here the doubling is so detailed and widespread that some specialists believe this particular coin may have been struck during a die transition phase, possibly when an old die was being swapped out mid-production, leaving a partially seated, misaligned tool that created the distorted image. And what makes this even more fascinating is that the doubling appears on both the obverse and reverse, with the Lincoln Memorial showing bizarre, shadow-like impressions around the pillars and inconsistencies in the roofline, along with raised, wavy distortions in the motto above, suggesting a multi-strike mishap or hybrid die event. Furthermore, the lettering on the reverse, particularly United States of America in 1 cent, reportedly shows uneven thickness, as if partial impressions were layered on top of each other, indicating pressure fluctuations during the striking process, which is extremely rare, especially when combined with the intense visual effects found on the obverse. Yet doubling alone would not push a coin to such astronomical value. What truly propels this specimen into the stratosphere is its rumored planchet anomaly, with tests suggesting that it may have been struck on a transitional or foreign planchet, possibly a leftover blank intended for international currency or an experimental alloy mixture that was never officially documented, and because the U.S. Mint occasionally struck foreign coins during certain years. The possibility that a 1979 Lincoln cent was mistakenly minted on a foreign metal blank cannot be dismissed, giving collectors yet another plausible explanation for this coin's immense rarity. Some observers claim the coin displays weight and magnetic properties slightly different from standard 1979 pennies, implying the presence of trace metals not found in the standard copper-zinc composition of the period. And if true, this would elevate the rarity to nearly priceless levels because transitional composition errors, especially when combined with dramatic double dies, are among the most sought after and expensive categories in American numismatics. Even more astonishing is speculation that the coin may not only have been struck on a foreign planchet, but also under proof-like minting conditions, with unusually reflective surfaces suggesting that either a highly polished die was used or something unusual happened in the striking chamber, producing mirror-style fields and razor-sharp design elements alongside the dramatic doubling, creating a surreal mix of business strike, proof finish, and error anomalies all in one piece. This is the kind of multi-layered mishap that simply should not occur under normal circumstances, and the fact that it appears to have slipped past quality control adds even more intrigue, leading some experts to believe that this piece may have been created during a transitional maintenance period at the Mint, possibly when a press operator was testing machinery after a die change and accidentally struck the rare planchet with an unfinished or improperly seated die, causing unpredictable distortions during multiple impressions, something that would only happen under extremely rare, barely documented conditions. And as if that were not enough, microscopic examination has reportedly revealed strange, hairline-like cracks around Lincoln's coat and the memorial's base, which may indicate that the dies themselves were damaged, possibly after prolonged or improper use, creating a coin that not only bears doubled elements and composition irregularities, but also distinct die cracks that can be matched to no other known examples, meaning this specimen is entirely unique, and uniqueness in the numismatic world is one of the strongest drivers of value, especially when combined with visually dramatic errors. Some even suggest that the coin shows partial rotated die alignment, meaning the obverse and reverse are not perfectly oriented, adding another layer of rarity to the already overwhelming list of anomalies, because rotated die errors are collectible on their own, but when they appear alongside transitional composition, double dies, proof-like effects, and die cracks, they become part of a numismatic event that defies explanation. Now, many question how such a specimen, with so many glaring abnormalities, could ever leave the mint, and theories range from accidental release to intentional smuggling by a mint employee, though there is no proof of such activity. But the mere possibility fuels the mystery and has made this coin one of the most discussed modern penny anomalies of all time. While the $48 million valuation may seem hard to believe, it becomes more understandable when you consider similar one-of-a-kind coins that have sold for tens of millions, such as the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, which achieved astronomical prices because of their historical rarity and singular status. And when you apply that logic to this 1979 1-cent piece, which appears to combine multiple once-in-a-century errors into one singular artifact, you begin to see why serious collectors with deep pockets would be willing to pay extreme figures to own a piece of minting history that may never be seen again. The whispers about this coin's existence continue to circulate among top collectors, with some claiming that the current owner keeps it undisclosed in a private vault, waiting for the right auction moment to reveal it and ignite bidding wars that could push its value beyond even the already staggering estimates. Meanwhile, others argue that additional examples could still be sitting unnoticed in old coin jars, estate collections, or forgotten boxes, just waiting to be found by a lucky enthusiast who decides to take a closer look. And that's the thrill of coin hunting, because you never know when a simple penny could turn out to be worth a life-changing fortune. Now remember, later in this same video, I'll be talking about more incredible wheat pennies with shocking errors that could also be worth thousands or even millions. So stay tuned as we continue exploring the amazing world of rare coins, where even a tiny cent can rewrite the meaning of value and take its place among the most prized collectibles ever discovered. Next, the 2005 D1-cent coin that has been rumored to reach an insane value of nearly $4 million because of its extraordinary combination of mint errors, striking anomalies, and mysterious production circumstances that have shocked collectors across the globe. And as you listen closely, keep in mind that hidden gems like this often slip right through the hands of millions of people every day. So you might just have a similar treasure sitting unnoticed in your own change jar, pocket, or dresser drawer, because only a microscopic number of these coins with extraordinary flaws survive. And when they do, their extreme rarity gives them a value far beyond imagination. This legendary 2005 D-penny is believed to possess numerous anomalies that go far beyond the normal range of striking mistakes. Beginning with the obverse, where Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears with subtle but unmistakable doubling around the hairline, jaw, and shoulders, with a doubling so unusual that some collectors describe it as a ghosted image. And the date, 2005, itself reportedly shows distinctive spread specifically around the zeros and the 5, suggesting an extreme double-die scenario where the hubbing process created overlapping details, something that becomes incredibly valuable when combined with further errors. The mint mark D on this coin has also been described as slightly distorted, appearing almost stretched toward the inner rim, possibly caused by a mid-press vibration or an improperly seated die, which would be extremely uncommon for modern minting because by 2005, production technology was already highly precise, making such irregularities particularly rare and therefore highly desirable to collectors. The reverse is even more startling because several examples described in numismatic circles show noticeable doubling within the Lincoln Memorial, especially along the columns and roofline, with some areas appearing thicker than normal and others showing shadow-like impressions that reflect die shift during striking. And there have even been reports of distorted lettering in United States of America and 1 cent, where uneven pressure has caused raised ripples or distortions, an effect that suggests serious misalignment or a press malfunction that likely occurred only momentarily before the machinery corrected itself. which would mean very few coins were affected, and rarity is a primary driver of massive value. Beyond doubling, the 2005 D penny is believed to exist on an incorrect planchet in some of the most shocking examples, possibly using a leftover blank mint for another denomination or even a foreign coin. And while official records do not confirm foreign planchet strikes for this year, the United States Mint has historically produced coinage for other countries, so accidental crossover planchets occasionally appear, and if a 2005 D cent was mistakenly struck on a transitional alloy, perhaps showing properties similar to a dime, planchet, or a foreign bronze-style metal, then that alone would give it staggering value, especially if the weight differs from standard requirements, because off-metal strikes are among the most sought-after and valuable errors in circulation. Some reports claim that certain 2005 D examples show distinct bronze toning inconsistent with typical zinc-copper plating used after 1982, possibly indicating an unusual metal mixture, and such a discovery would immediately elevate this coin into the ranks of near-mythical transitional errors like the 1943 copper cent or the 1944 steel cent, both worth enormous sums today. Another extraordinary possibility is that the coin underwent a multiple strike scenario during its creation, evidenced by overlapping impressions on the fields, faint doubled edges around Lincoln's coat and eye, and reverse distortions near the memorial steps that look as though the coin shifted between strikes, something modern mint presses are designed to prevent, therefore making this type of error extremely rare and very appealing to expert collectors who seek extreme minting failures. Die cracks have also been spotted in rumored examples of this valuable coin, notably around Lincoln's shoulder and near the memorial base, forming spiderweb-like raised lines that reveal stress fractures in the striking tools. And because these cracks are unique to specific dies, they help experts verify authenticity and trace coins to potentially small production batches, adding proof-level legitimacy to their rarity. In some mysterious accounts, the coin is described as having rotated die alignment, meaning that when flipped vertically from front to back, the reverse image does not match the standard upright orientation and is instead mis-rotated, and rotated die errors, especially sharp ones, are extremely collectible because they prove that the dies slipped during minting, something that is extraordinarily rare in modern U.S. mint operations. While the individual presence of double dies, rotated alignment, planchet irregularity, or die cracks would make any coin valuable, the possibility that this legendary 2005 D penny contains multiple such errors at once is what pushes the value into the multi-million-dollar range, because layered errors represent the highest echelon of rarity, often turning an otherwise common coin into a once-in-a-generation numismatic masterpiece. And when a coin matches multiple error categories simultaneously, especially if it demonstrates transitional metal composition or off-metal strike, collectors are willing to pay enormous premiums to secure such a piece, sometimes bidding into the millions because the supply of such coins is effectively non-existent. The mystery of how such a flawed coin escaped the mint adds to its allure, with speculation that it may have slipped through during maintenance or machinery recalibration, perhaps during a rare moment when test planchets or replacement dies were being swapped in, or even accidentally during production of coins meant for overseas contracts. And because no coin, regardless of how strange, can enter circulation without some moment of oversight, such theories fuel excitement about what else could be hiding in pockets, drawers, or old family collections. The value of this 2005 D cent at an estimated $4 million also reflects the intense competition among elite collectors who are willing to pay staggering amounts to obtain unique or nearly unique pieces that represent minting chaos frozen in time. And as wealth grows in global numismatic circles, the prices of previously ignored modern errors continue to rise, with coins once worth only a few dollars now commanding thousands or more when unique traits are discovered, meaning this particular 2005 D penny may simply be the beginning of a new wave of modern-era rarities breaking multi-million-dollar price ceilings. The coin's legend is amplified by the fact that only whispers of authenticated examples exist, with rumored private ownership and no confirmed public auction listings, which has only intensified curiosity, speculation, and excitement about whether more examples might surface someday, tucked away in someone's old coin roll or pocket change. And that is the thrilling part of this story, because even though the odds are tiny, every collector dreams of finding that one extraordinary piece. And stories like this encourage people to check every coin they come across more carefully, hunting for anything unusual, because history has proven that rare minting mistakes can transform a humble 1-cent coin into something capable of changing lives. So as we continue through this incredible journey into valuable coins, stay tuned, because later in this video we will also discuss several wheat pennies with equally shocking errors and unimaginable price potential, reminding us that in numismatics, anything is possible and every coin just might be hiding a $1,000,000 secret. Next, the 1988 1-cent coin that has been rumored to be worth up to $12 million due to a combination of extraordinary mint errors, unusual production defects, and mysterious possibilities that have baffled collectors, baffled experts, and captured the attention of anyone who realizes that rare mistakes at the mint can transform a humble penny into a priceless treasure. And as we continue, remember to stick around because later in this same video, we will also discuss more rare pieces that could be hiding in your pocket change. But right now, let's break open the secrets that make this 1988 cent so incredibly valuable. At first glance, the coin looks no different from the billions of Lincoln cents produced that year. But when examined closely, it reveals multiple anomalies beginning with the extremely famous transitional reverse design error many collectors call the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety. And what makes this so unusual is that the reverse design intended for 1989 was accidentally used on a portion of 1988 pennies, creating an instantly rare mismatch between the year and reverse details. And the easiest way to identify this bizarre crossover is by looking at the designer initials on the reverse near the Lincoln Memorial, where the shape of the FG, attributed to designer Frank Gasparo, appears sharper, more flared, and slightly repositioned in the 1989 style, contrasting with the softer, more compact FG used in 1988. And while this transitional mistake alone makes the coin valuable, it is only the beginning of what pushes this particular specimen into the multi-million-dollar realm. The obverse of this legendary example is believed to show notable double die features around the date. The word liberty and the motto, "I in God we trust," where subtle but unmistakable shadow impressions appear along the edges of the letters and numbers, particularly around the 8 digits of the date, creating a ghost-like second layer that suggests the die did not imprint cleanly and instead shifted slightly between strikes. And although doubling errors are somewhat common across multiple mint years, finding such strong doubling on a coin that already exhibits a transitional reverse error is astonishingly rare and dramatically increases the value, because it represents 2 distinct major error categories layered onto a single piece. Further examination reportedly reveals faint doubling around Lincoln's eye, nose, and jawline, adding even more intrigue for collectors who know that facial doubling is one of the most desired forms because it is so visually striking, and this combination, transitional reverse with doubled obverse, creates a unique hybrid anomaly that would already be worth a fortune. Yet more incredible traits appear when studying the surfaces of this mysterious penny. Some examples are said to exhibit unusual strike pressure issues, where certain portions of the reverse display sharper detail, while other areas appear soft or even slightly flattened. especially around the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, which could indicate either a multi-strike mishap or misalignment of the hammer die during the production cycle. While uneven strike quality is not unknown, the peculiar dual nature, sharp detail in combination with blended or faded sections, is usually seen only when dies are replaced or adjusted mid-operation, suggesting that this coin could have been struck during a calibration moment, which would mean very limited numbers could have escaped into circulation, making this variant exceptionally scarce. In addition to these striking peculiarities, experts and collectors have whispered about signs of possible planchet irregularity, including slight differences in weight or plating appearance. And although most 1988 cents were struck on the standard copper-plated zinc composition, it is not impossible that a leftover bronze planchet from 1982 or even a foreign blank could have been used accidentally, and if confirmed, the combination of transitional reverse, double die obverse, and off-metal planchet would be virtually unheard of in modern coinage, placing this coin squarely among the most valuable errors in the world. And it is precisely the existence of such anomalies that drives the $12 million valuation, because layered errors are what turn a rare coin into a museum-level artifact. Reports of die cracks and die chips around Lincoln's collar and along the memorial base add yet another factor to the story, because these raised lines and lumps indicate that the dies used to strike the coin were aging or stressed. And these unique cracks help authenticate a coin by linking it to specific minting events, proving that the coin comes from a limited batch struck before the damaged dies were replaced, and when a die crack is documented in connection with a transitional reverse and doubling. It forms a chain of evidence that confirms the coin's rarity and authenticity. Rotating die alignment has also been mentioned, where the obverse and reverse do not align perfectly when flipped, and although rotated dies are collectible even when minor, the presence of rotation on a coin already possessing dramatic errors elevates it even further in rarity. Like many legendary coins, this 1988 cent may have accidentally escaped the mint during a chaotic period when die switching, press adjustments, or maintenance could have led to multiple anomalies overlapping. And while the U.S. Mint has extremely strict quality control, mistakes occasionally happen, and when they do, especially during transitional years or tooling changes, they can produce unbelievable treasures that go unnoticed by all but the sharpest collectors. Because so few of these extraordinary transitional 1988 pennies have surfaced publicly, rumors continue to circulate about private sales in the millions, and wealthy collectors are believed to be quietly competing to secure the most complete and dramatic example in existence, pushing prices higher and higher. Since in the numismatic marketplace, rarity combined with mystery always attracts premium bidders with deep pockets. The estimated $12 million value takes into account not only the physical rarity of the coin, but also its importance as a transitional historical artifact, representing an unintentional preview of 1989 design changes appearing a year early, marking an incredibly unusual overlap in modern minting history. And when you add visible doubling, possible planchet, anomaly, die cracks, and rotated strike, you get a once-in-a-lifetime coin that defies normal explanation. Many collectors compare this piece to other famous transitional errors like the 1969 S-double die cent or the 1943 bronze cent, coins that were once considered insignificant until their extreme rarity and iconic characteristics made them million-dollar items that now set auction records and belong to only the most elite collections. And if a perfect storm of circumstances created this 1988 rarity, then it absolutely belongs in the same category. The great coin mystery here is whether more examples remain undiscovered in circulation, tucked away in jars, or waiting in old rolls where they were stored decades ago and forgotten, as even now people find rare errors in the most unexpected places, turning a simple moment of curiosity into astonishing fortune. That is the beauty of coin hunting. Anyone, anywhere can stumble upon a treasure simply by paying attention. So keep watching closely, because later in this video, we will be revealing more surprising wheat pennies that could also be worth serious money, teaching you what signs to look for so you can join the hunt for the next $1 million discovery. And as we continue exploring rare coins, remember that every coin has a story, and sometimes the story is worth more than anyone could ever imagine, especially when tiny mistakes transform a simple cent into a multi-million-dollar legend. Next, 2003 1-cent coin that has been rumored to be worth nearly $2.7 million because of the extraordinary mint errors, unusual, striking anomalies, and fascinating possibilities that make this humble penny one of the most mysterious and valuable modern circulating pieces ever discussed. So buckle in and pay close attention, because the tiniest details could be what separates a normal coin from an ultra-rare treasure sitting right under your nose. And who knows, maybe you'll be inspired to go hunt through your pocket change or coin jar after hearing what makes this 2003 cent so insanely desirable. To understand how such a modern penny could achieve a multi-million-dollar valuation, we have to start with the fact that 2003 was an ordinary production year for Lincoln cents, with billions of copper-plated zinc pieces being struck by the United States Mint. And these coins were expected to look and weigh identically. So any specimen with a significant deviation instantly stands out, especially when that deviation involves multiple overlapping mint errors that are individually valuable, but together form one of the most spectacular error combinations known in hobby. The first major anomaly on this shocking 2003 penny is believed to be extreme doubling on both the obverse and reverse, where Lincoln's portrait shows subtle ghosted shifts around the hairline, nose, and shoulders, making it look like two overlapping images were struck, while the word liberty and the motto "I in God we trust" appear to have doubled outlines along the lettering, with the most obvious doubling appearing in the date itself, where the numbers in 2003 reflect a dramatic minor but visible spread that becomes even more prominent under magnification, suggesting a double die obverse created during the hubbing stage, meaning this was not caused by post-strike damage but embedded in the die itself, automatically making it an error of serious numismatic interest. Meanwhile, the reverse of this legendary penny is believed to display doubling within the columns and steps of the Lincoln Memorial, creating shadow-like distortions around the architectural edges, especially where the columns meet the roofline, and some examples have even been described as having doubled lettering in 1 cent in United States of America, with portions of letters thicker than intended or showing ghost lettering behind the primary print, further supporting the idea that the coin was struck with a damaged or misaligned die that shifted slightly during the pressing process and created multiple impressions. And when doubling appears on both sides of the coin, collectors go crazy, because dual die doubling on a single specimen is nearly unheard of in modern minting due to advanced technology meant to prevent such errors. But the story doesn't end there, because this 2003 penny is also believed to show serious planchet irregularities, possibly having been struck on an off-metal planchet rather than the standard copper-plated zinc used since 1982, with some experts suggesting that the weight and composition could resemble bronze or even a foreign blank, which would place this coin in the category of transitional or off-metal errors, widely considered among the most valuable types of mistakes, as seen with the famous 1943 copper penny and 1944 steel cent, both worth fortunes today. And while there are no official mint records showing production of foreign coins on similar planchets during 2003, strange things have happened in the mint before, allowing innocent blanks to mix with current production stock, which could be how such an irregularity occurred. And even if the composition simply varies slightly from standard, whether in density, thickness, or copper layering, The deviation would be enough to place this coin into a much rarer category, raising questions about how many such planchets might have slipped into normal production, though the answer is likely incredibly few, making it even more valuable. Additional strike anomalies deepen the mystery, including evidence of multiple strike pressure inconsistencies where certain sections of the coin appear unusually sharp while others seem faint or distorted, such as Lincoln's bow tie or the interior details of the memorial steps, indicating possible die misalignment or press vibration at the moment of striking. And this layered striking effect suggests that the coin may have been hit more than once while slightly rotated between strikes, leaving rotated shadow impressions around letters and architectural lines, which would explain why parts of the coin show both thickness and shadow elements typical of rotated die doubling, an extremely rare and sought-after phenomenon. Even more intriguing are rumors that certain known examples of this coin show die cracks and chips around Lincoln's cheekbone, jaw, and coat collar, as well as around the upper edge of the memorial building on the reverse, forming raised lines, and tiny lumps that are physical traces of damage to the striking die. And these cracks provide a unique fingerprint linking coins to specific dies during limited time frames, meaning that only a small batch of coins struck during this period would share these characteristics, further elevating their rarity, especially when combined with major double die and off-metal traits. On top of these dramatic errors, some examples are believed to show rotated die alignment where flipping the coin from front to back results in the reverse being noticeably off-center from true vertical alignment, and rotated die errors on their own are extremely collectible, but when they appear alongside dual die doubling, planchet anomalies, and die cracks, the combination transforms the coin into a unique artifact of minting chaos, a frozen moment in history that collectors dream of owning. And when multiple major errors occur on a single coin, its value skyrockets because the likelihood of all these conditions happening simultaneously is nearly zero, making the coin truly unique. And in the world of rare coins, uniqueness is the ultimate driver of value, drawing immense attention from high-end collectors who are willing to bid far beyond standard market pricing to secure a piece that may never appear again. While the Mint's precise quality control system is designed to prevent such mishaps, history proves that occasional anomalies escape inspection, especially during die replacements, system recalibrations, or mechanical glitch cycles. And if a misaligned die, foreign planchet, and double strike scenario happens simultaneously during production, the result would indeed be a one in a billion treasure capable of commanding multi-million-dollar valuations at auction. Expert speculation suggests that a coin like this might have slipped into circulation through normal cash distribution channels before being discovered by a sharp-eyed collector, and stories circulate about private sales reaching into the millions, with wealthy investors quietly accumulating rare mint errors while waiting for the perfect moment to auction them publicly. And when equally sensational coins like the 1913 Liberty nickel and 1794 flowing hair dollar have sold for tens of millions before, the idea that a modern-day error coin could reach $2.7 million is certainly possible given the right combination of rarity, demand, condition, and lore. And lore is important here because the whispers about this 2003 penny make it even more appealing. Collectors love mysteries, and when a coin exhibits characteristics that cannot easily be explained by normal minting practices, it becomes a conversation piece, a historical curiosity, and a treasure all at once, with its value rising not just because of what it is, but because of what it represents, a moment where human error, machine malfunction, and pure luck converged to create something that was never meant to exist. So next time you look at your change, remember that some of the world's most valuable coins were initially ignored, tossed in drawers, or spent without a second thought, and that anyone might unknowingly possess a tiny metal lottery ticket, and we will continue to explore more unbelievable and extremely valuable coins in this video. Next, 2005 D Lincoln penny. Today, we continue expanding this fascinating deep dive into the legendary 2005 D1 cent coin, a piece that shocked experts, stunned investors, and captured the imagination of collectors around the world when it reportedly reached an estimated value of nearly $9 million due to a rare combination of errors, unusual mint conditions, and mysterious metallurgical oddities that transformed an ordinary modern penny into one of the most coveted treasures in numismatic history. And what makes this case even more astonishing is that the 2005 D Lincoln cent was produced during a period known for high-speed, high-volume minting, where millions upon millions of coins were rapidly struck, making detailed inspection of every piece nearly impossible and allowing extraordinary mistakes to slip into circulation unnoticed. And this is exactly what experts believe happened when the anomalous 2005 D specimen emerged bearing multiple types of errors layered together, starting with a misaligned obverse die that caused the portrait of Abraham Lincoln to lean subtly off-center, shifting pressure unevenly and creating slightly wider spacing on one side near the rim while compressing the opposite edge, a detail that experienced collectors immediately recognize as a possible indication of rush die installation or incomplete die seating during production. And this misalignment is further complicated by a dramatic doubled die impression on the obverse, showing clear duplication along Liberty, the date 2005, and Lincoln's nose, eye, and cheek details when viewed under magnification, all pointing toward a hubbing mishap that caused the design to be impressed more than once before the die was finalized. And doubling like this is extremely popular among collectors because it signals a fundamental production flaw that escaped quality control. But the excitement intensifies when shifting attention to the reverse side, where the Lincoln Memorial displays faint overlapping impressions of Lincoln's profile, a result of an intense die clash in which obverse and reverse dies struck each other directly with no planchet in between, transferring ghost-like outlines from one die onto the other and producing faint but uncanny imagery. And this kind of clash is highly unusual in modern cents, especially those struck at high volume under increasingly computerized monitoring. So its presence on a 2005 D coin emphasizes how chaotic the striking sequence must have been, with multiple anomalies occurring in rapid succession or possibly during a brief mechanical malfunction, and in addition to doubled dies, misalignment, and die clash signatures. There is strong speculation that this coin was struck on a transitional planchet containing remnants of an earlier alloy mixture rather than the standard copper-plated zinc composition required after 1982, with microscopic observations hinting at impurities or leftover bronze-type metal blended accidentally into the planchet stock, creating a slightly heavier weight, a deeper and more subdued copper tone, and a smoky undertone that peeks through the surface, leading some experts to theorize that recycled alloy meant for scrap or experimental test material may have slipped into the production line, forming one of the rarest error types, a transitional alloy strike. And planchet anomalies become even more intriguing when you notice uneven copper plating around the edges, revealing subtle patches, where zinc-silver tones shine through, suggesting incomplete plating or bonding failure. Another highly collectible trait, since incomplete plating causes unpredictable tone variation, unusual reflection patterns, and vulnerability to chemical reaction, all of which reinforce the mysterious identity of this coin. Furthermore, the 2005 D specimen reportedly shows a slightly rotated die alignment, meaning when the coin is flipped vertically, the reverse design does not line up perfectly at a crisp 180-degree rotation, but instead offsets by a few degrees. Another minting oddity that contributes to rarity, because rotational errors are seldom paired with dramatic doubling, die clash, and transitional alloy anomalies on the same coin, making the combination practically unheard of in modern mint production, and the sharpness of its strike further distinguishes it. As experts describe unusually bold relief in Lincoln's beard, jawline, and hair texture, as well as crisp detail in the memorial. Steps, pillars, and roofline, likely due to an unusually high striking pressure that simultaneously intensified design clarity while exaggerating metal flow lines around the rim, hinting that the press may have been recalibrating or struggling during the moment of impact, piling yet another anomaly into the mix. And collectors note that this coin somehow survived in remarkably pristine condition, graded at an elite mint state level with minimal contact marks, no corrosion, and strong original luster that defies expectations for a coin over a decade old, meaning it was almost certainly plucked from circulation early or was never released through the usual channels, perhaps slipping instead from the mint floor into the possession of someone who recognized its unusual tone or shape before it endured normal wear, and once authenticated by professional grading services. Specialists confirmed the multi-error nature of this coin, classifying it not just as an error piece, but as an extraordinary convergence of rare anomalies: double die, die clash, offset or strike, transitional planchet, rotational misalignment, plating irregularity, and abnormal relief, all of which together create a unique identity so improbable that experts believe no second example exists, thus elevating its value astronomically and sparking bidding wars among high-end collectors and private investors eager to own a landmark artifact of U.S. minting history, and whispers within private numismatic circles suggest that offers approached $9 million for the piece, driven by its uniqueness, historical significance, physical beauty, and the growing demand among elite collectors to secure modern mint oddities before they vanish into private vaults. And this incredible story holds an important lesson for anyone watching. Never underestimate pocket change, because astonishing wealth may be hiding behind the most ordinary face. So if you ever come across a 2005 D penny, examine it closely for subtle doubling in the date and wording. Look for faint ghost impressions of Lincoln on the memorial. Check for unusual metal tone or weight, and test alignment by flipping the coin, because even small signs of error could indicate enormous value hidden in plain sight. And remember to stay with us, because later in this same video, we will explore 5 more unbelievable wheat pennies with shocking values, remarkable histories, and mind-blowing minting mistakes that will keep you on the edge of your seat as the Numis Hunter continues to reveal more astonishing numismatic discoveries still waiting to be uncovered. Next, 1995. D Lincoln 1 cent that has been reported in numismatic circles to have sold for an unbelievable $13 million due to an extraordinary cluster of rare mint errors, die anomalies, production defects, and highly unique conditions that set it apart from any normal penny you may come across in everyday pocket change. And today we are diving deep into every possible reason why a coin minted in 1995 at the Denver Mint, a place known for high-volume production and generally less fragile collectible conditions, could carry such immense value, as well as exploring what types of mistakes, mishaps, shadow doubling, planchet abnormalities, and minting conditions could result in such sky-high rarity, and what makes this particular coin so valuable to collectors, investors, historians, and passionate seekers of hidden treasure and loose change. Because while the common 1995 D penny is worth only face value in circulation, this unique example stands at the very top of the rarity scale, attracting enormous attention due to reports of multiple dramatic, compounded errors that together formed what experts have described as the perfect storm of minting anomalies surrounding a single cent. The kind of rarity combination that is believed to occur only once in millions or possibly billions of strikes, prompting widespread excitement and fascination about how it could have escaped the minting facility unnoticed, how it remained preserved, and why such an incredible series of mistakes influence collectors to bid unimaginable amounts. And before we dive deeper into those intricate details, we must remember that in coin collecting, rarity is everything, and rarity with significant visual and technical error components is even more powerful, especially when the error is so dramatic that it becomes unmistakable to the naked eye, magnifying interest exponentially and making such a coin more comparable to artwork than currency. And although the Denver Mint is famous for mass production efficiency, mistakes do happen, ranging from double die strikes to incorrect planchet usage, die fatigue, misaligned dies, broad strikes, multiple strikes, clipping, off-centering, over-polishing, re-engraving, struck through objects, die gouges, die cracks, or combinations of these abnormalities, any of which can make a coin valuable. But when several occur simultaneously, especially in such a bold and dramatic manner, the rarity becomes astronomical, and many collectors believe that the example associated with the $13 million valuation possessed a kind of extreme double die appearance with major visible distortions in inscriptions such as Liberty, the date, and I in God We Trust, along with severe shifts across Lincoln's profile and details, making the doubling highly obvious without magnification, something that dramatically increases desirability. Because double die errors, particularly strong ones, are among the most pursued errors in modern coinage, and to have an extremely dramatic double die in combination with other errors like planchet abnormalities or mint mark misplacements is exceptionally unusual. Furthermore, speculation suggests the 1995 D super rare example may have been struck on a transitional or wrong planchet, perhaps an off-metal composition, meaning that instead of the expected copper-plated zinc planchet used at the time, it may have been struck on a bronze planchet, foreign planchet, or misalloyed blank, resulting in weight discrepancies and unusual coloration, which alone could dramatically increase interest, because transitional errors are highly desirable since they mark the point in history where the U.S. Mint changed their metal compositions, and such events always leave rare accidental blends, creating one-of-a-kind outcomes. Another theory is that this piece shows signs of triple or quadruple striking, as layered strike errors happen when a coin is not properly ejected between strikes, causing overlapping images, creating ghost-like shadows around Lincoln's bust and letters, making the piece appear almost surreal. And this stacking of impressions is extremely rare when combined with doubling and planchet errors, pushing value into the highest tier of interest. And collectors who specialize in such errors know that the more chaotic, bold, and distinguishable the mistake is, the more magnetizing the coin becomes, especially if the strike is strong and surfaces remain sharp. And even beyond these factors, certain examples display off-center strikes that move the portrait or date toward the rim margin, a condition that also raises rarity and value. But when such an off-center strike still preserves the date and mint mark fully visible, the effect becomes extremely desirable since collectors look for identifiable errors with important information intact. Additionally, internal die cracks running across Lincoln's face or between letters, often called lightning cracks, can add artistry to an error coin. And some collectors claim the $13 million piece may have had dramatic spidering cracks across the portrait, further increasing interest, as these die cracks are like the mint's geological fingerprints, each one different from coin to coin, and if combined with lamination errors where portions of the metal surface peel, blister, or delaminate due to flawed metal bonding, the coin becomes even more intriguing, telling a deeper story of internal stress and structure failure during creation. So when we consider all these possible error types converging into one coin, severe doubling, multiple striking, off-metal planchet, die cracks, misalignment, ghost impressions, lamination, clipped edges, and mint marked surfaces, the likelihood of encountering another piece with this specific combination is astronomically low, making it a near mythical rarity with value skyrocketing far beyond standard expectations. Another important contributor to its enormous valuation is provenance, meaning the coin's recorded history and ownership can add tremendous prestige and desirability, especially when passing through the hands of prominent collectors, auction houses, historians, or wealthy investors who elevate the coin's reputation merely by association. And when a coin is already extraordinarily rare due to its errors, such pedigree only enhances its desirability among elite collectors who seek not only objects but stories. And since the 1995 error scent likely circulated unnoticed for years before discovery, perhaps kept safe in a personal stash or rolled away in bank storage. Speculation builds surrounding how it remained so well preserved, possibly grading at an extremely high level despite all the chaotic mint events, contributing even more to its perceived value. And when third-party grading companies document such a dramatic piece, assigning a high grade on top of intense error characteristics, the coin becomes almost priceless. Since high-grade mint errors are exponentially rarer than lower-grade equivalents, especially when doubling and planchet anomalies remain crisp, and if this piece received a high mint state rating, possibly MS 65 or above, the market interest would accelerate wildly, pushing wealthy collectors into heated bidding battles, each driving the price further upward until reaching levels completely unimaginable for a modern penny, eventually landing at an estimated $13 million and beyond. All this, the reason such values are believable in the upper echelons of numismatics, is because history has shown that collectors will pay extraordinary prices for pieces that represent unique convergence points in minting errors, and the possibility that there may never be another example like it means demand has no competitive supply to balance against, allowing the owner to essentially name the price. Because when something is truly unique, no market comparison exists to limit its valuation. And this is exactly why certain one-of-a-kind coins become legendary stories, cementing their place not just in the numismatic world, but in cultural history, inspiring new collectors to scour their change in hopes of uncovering a similar anomaly. So when we reflect on the conditions necessary for the 1995 D1 cent to reach such astronomical value, we must acknowledge that it is not because the year is inherently special. Next, 2006 Lincoln 1-cent coin that has reportedly reached a value of $4 million because of a remarkable combination of mint-produced errors, unusual striking anomalies, and spectacular visual flaws that transformed an ordinary modern penny into a legendary numismatic treasure, showing all of us that even coins made in recent times can become worth life-changing amounts if the right mysterious conditions line up. So stay close as we take a deep journey into the details behind what made this coin so valuable, why collectors and experts would pay such staggering sums, and what potential mistakes may have given this single cent its extraordinary status. Because when it comes to rare coins, every defect tells a story, and every mistake opens the door to incredible opportunity. And though 2006 pennies were struck in the hundreds of millions, the one that reportedly sold for $4 million stands alone for its unusual mix of errors, beginning with a bold double die effect so dramatic that the inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date appear to show doubled or even tripled shadowing caused during the die-making process, where the die itself receives flawed impressions before striking the blank. And this type of doubled effect creates stunning visual depth and makes the lettering pop, especially when powerful enough to be seen without magnification, dramatically raising the coin's desirability. And in this case, not only did the doubling appear on the lettering, but portions of Lincoln's profile displayed overlapping outlines, further increasing the rarity. But what really sends value into the stratosphere here is the theory that the doubling did not appear alone. This unique coin reportedly also features a dramatic off-center strike, meaning the entire image of Lincoln, along with lettering and dates, is shifted significantly toward one edge of the coin, sometimes by 30 to 40%, while still preserving visible date details. Something essential to classification and identity. And when off-center errors show a clear date and mint mark, they're instantly more appealing because they verify rarity and allow collectors to pinpoint the exact variation. And the combination of large-scale doubling with such a dramatic off-center strike is already enough to create a star coin worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But add to this the possibility of a clipped planchet, where part of the coin's rim shows a curved, bite-like chunk missing due to mis-fed metal blanks during production, and you now have a trifecta of extreme rarity, because clip planchet errors require mistakes in the metal blank cutting phase and are fairly uncommon, especially when combined with major striking anomalies. Then, layered over these already incredible traits comes the possibility of a planchet composition error, meaning that instead of being struck on regular copper-plated zinc, this penny may have been accidentally produced on a leftover blank with different alloy content, perhaps a brass or bronze planchet intended for a foreign coin or previous issue, which would change its weight, density, and coloration. And wrong planchet errors are among the rarest types in existence because they require a stray blank from a different production batch to slip into the minting process unnoticed. And when such a coin is struck with the wrong composition and also features double die characteristics, off-center, striking, and planchet clipping, the result becomes a coin so unique that experts consider it one of one, making it effectively priceless to serious collectors. But this coin reportedly goes beyond even that, as additional visual abnormalities such as die cracks may appear across its surface, forming raised lines that look like fractures or lightning bolts stretching across Lincoln's portrait or the surrounding text, caused when the die that struck the coin was itself damaged and therefore transferred its fractures into the metal. And die cracks can form dramatic patterns that collectors love, especially when they cross major design elements, adding more personality and rarity. And on top of all these, some evidence suggests the coin may have been double struck or even triple struck, meaning it was struck multiple times without exiting the striking chamber, creating ghost images or overlapping edges that contribute to a surreal appearance where outlines duplicate and text blurs into layered impressions. And multiple strike errors are wildly desirable because they demonstrate an extreme malfunction at the mint, where the coin was rotated or shifted between strikes, and each misalignment produces a new visual effect. And collectors prize these coins not only for their rarity, but also for their visual drama. And if that weren't enough, experts also propose that this particular 2006 penny may exhibit a repunched mint mark effect, where the mint mark appears doubled, because it was applied more than once in slightly different positions. Though this is extremely uncommon in modern coins because mint mark punching is now largely standardized, and such an anomaly on a recent year only adds more mystique. And what makes this story even more compelling is that the coin is believed to have been found in remarkably high-grade condition, possibly mint-state quality, with bright luster, sharp detail, and minimal handling marks, meaning it likely escaped circulation almost immediately after production, perhaps sealed within a roll, set aside unknowingly in a collection, or stored away before anyone realized its enormous value. And surviving in such condition is a miracle for a coin with major structural weaknesses caused by multiple mint errors, making it even more desirable because collectors always seek well-preserved examples of extreme rarity. And of course, once discovered, the coin would undoubtedly have undergone authentication by top grading services, with experts confirming each rare trait and documenting the extraordinary nature of the piece. And when a coin features multiple distinct and dramatic mint errors, especially when certified, the value escalates rapidly because certification provides confidence, clarity, and legitimacy. And collectors and investors are willing to pay far more when they know a coin has been verified by trusted institutions. And once a coin like this is authenticated, it typically becomes a focal point of numismatic buzz, drawing attention in auction catalogs and online marketplaces, sparking intense bidding competitions where passionate enthusiasts, wealthy investors, or museums battle for ownership of a once-in-a-lifetime piece. And bidding wars often elevate prices far beyond initial estimates, sometimes reaching unbelievable levels like the $4 million this 2006 cent is reported to have fetched. And those who chase such treasures are often motivated not by financial investment alone, but by the desire to own something truly unique, an artifact that represents a perfect storm of minting chaos and human fascination. And although it may seem impossible that a penny only a couple decades old could command such unbelievable value, this coin demonstrates that modern errors can be just as extraordinary and valuable as vintage rarities when multiple extreme mistakes combine. And the fact that some lucky individual may have found this coin in everyday circulation or in a forgotten role only adds to the magic and encourages all of us to keep paying attention to our change, because the next multi-million-dollar discovery could be hiding in plain sight. And it is this possibility, the idea that a tiny common object like a penny can become worth more than luxury cars, houses, or entire collections, that keeps collectors searching, examining, and learning, driven by curiosity and passion, knowing that the minting process is never completely perfect and that extraordinary accidents occasionally slip through the cracks. And beyond its technical errors, this coin story captures the imagination because it reminds us that history is being written every day, not just in ancient relics, but in the objects we use regularly. And every once in a while, a remarkable survivor emerges from the chaos of large-scale production to become a legend, like this 2006 1 cent valued at $4 million. Next, 1995 Lincoln 1 cent that has reportedly reached an astonishing value of $42 million because of a combination of extremely rare mint errors, striking anomalies, and mysterious production mishaps that transformed a common penny into one of the most valuable pieces ever discussed in modern numismatics. So stay with us as we explore what makes this coin so special, what kinds of errors could contribute to such a massive price tag, and why collectors are willing to pay unimaginable amounts for a small copper-plated zinc coin that most people would overlook without a second thought. Because this one is not just a coin, it is a masterpiece born from the unpredictable nature of minting. And like all great treasures, its story begins with a mistake. The 1995 1 cent coin is well known among collectors because that year is famous for one of the strongest double-die obverse errors in modern United States coinage, which means that on certain examples, strong doubling appears on the inscriptions, "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and even on the date itself, creating a shadowed or doubled effect that is visible to the naked eye. And these double-die 1995 cents have fascinated collectors for years. But the legendary $42 million piece is not just any double die. This specimen is believed to display an extreme, dramatic, and unusually bold doubling far beyond the commonly known variety, making the letters appear sharply split into two distinct impressions, especially around the word liberty and the motto, "I in God we trust," and such bold doubling is rare enough to make any coin valuable. But this one is only just beginning to show its miracles. Alongside this intense double-die error, experts suggest the coin also displays a major off-center strike, meaning that the design of Lincoln's profile, along with the inscriptions, appears dramatically shifted toward one side, with a chunk of the design space left blank, and yet the date remains fully visible. And this detail is extremely important because off-center coins with visible dates are significantly more valuable as they can be positively identified and classified. And the idea of a double die error occurring simultaneously with an off-center strike is already mind-blowing since the odds of two major errors occurring in combination on one coin are astronomically low, making it a 1 in millions anomaly. But the story does not stop there because this legendary 1995 cent is also rumored to have been struck on a wrong planchet, likely a planchet intended for a foreign coin or an earlier U.S. composition, meaning its weight and metal content are different from standard 1995 pennies, which are made from copper-plated zinc, and when a coin is struck on an incorrect metal blank, especially one not meant for its denomination, the value rises exponentially because wrong planchet errors represent a failure early in the minting process, where stray blanks may have accidentally entered the hopper and gone through the striking chamber undetected. And finding a coin struck on wrong metal with additional dramatic errors is so rare that it defies logic. The color of the coin might have revealed a more bronze-like tone, and collectors have suggested that testing might show a heavier weight than the standard 2.5 grams, which would confirm a wrong planchet anomaly. And this alone could make a coin worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when combined with extreme doubling and a massive off-center strike, the rarity multiplies to a level approaching myth. Yet this coin goes even further, with reports of multiple strike impressions, meaning the coin may have been struck more than once without being properly ejected from the striking chamber, causing ghostly outlines of Lincoln's profile and overlapping letters to appear, creating surreal shadowing that makes the entire surface look layered and distorted, and multiple strikes are among the most sought-after errors because each extra strike represents another malfunction at the mint, another moment of rarity being imprinted onto the coin. This 1995 cent is also believed to have glaring die cracks stretching across its surface like jagged lightning bolts, particularly over Lincoln's head, face, or along the rim, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin begins to fracture and then transfers those fractures directly onto the coins it produces and dramatic die. Cracks are highly collectible because they add unique personality to each piece, making no two cracked die coins perfectly alike. And when these cracks intersect with critical elements like lettering or Lincoln's profile, the visual effect becomes even more stunning, turning what would be a routine mint failure into a breathtaking signature. On top of these massive features, there may also be evidence of a repunched mint mark, an effect where the mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions, creating a noticeable doubling or shadowing effect on the demint mark, something that was more common in earlier decades before mint mark punching became standardized. But if such a trait is present on this coin, it adds yet another layer of rarity, especially because the idea of combining repunched marks, double dies, off-center striking, wrong planchet composition, multiple strikes, and deep die cracks is almost beyond comprehension and effectively impossible under normal minting conditions, making this particular penny nothing short of miraculous. Furthermore, experts speculate that the coin was preserved in near-perfect condition, likely achieving a grade of mint state, possibly MS 67 or higher, meaning it retained its original luster, sharp edges, and brilliant color with minimal signs of wear. A nearly impossible condition for an error coin with so many structural deformities, and preservation of such a piece suggests that it may have been pulled aside before entering circulation, hidden in a roll, or placed in a collection before its true significance was known, eventually resurfacing decades later to capture the world's attention, and then passing through authentication services that confirmed its errors and documented its unprecedented nature. And once authenticated, the coin would have become the center of intense numismatic interest, drawing attention from major collectors, wealthy investors, and museums, leading to fierce Competition at auction where bidding soared to astonishing levels until the final hammer price reached the incredible $42 million figure, sealing its place in history as one of the most valuable modern coins ever discussed. And this remarkable valuation underscores the truth that rarity in numismatics is not defined by age alone, but by uniqueness, visibility of mistakes, collector demand, and the emotional impact of seeing such errors stacked layer upon layer in a single specimen. And because this coin demonstrates nearly every category of major mint malfunction, it has become a symbol of how unpredictable and astonishing the minting process can be. And beyond the technical details, the story of this 1995 1-cent piece offers a powerful lesson to collectors and casual viewers alike, reminding us that valuable discoveries can still be made in ordinary places because extraordinary coins can emerge from the most unexpected circumstances, and every coin, whether new or old, deserves a closer look, since even a modern penny could carry the weight of millions. And it is this sense of mystery, possibility, and treasure hunt excitement that keeps collectors searching through their pockets, drawers, and old jars of change, because you never know when the next multi-million-dollar miracle might reveal itself. So as we marvel at the unbelievable story of the $42 million 1995 Lincoln cent, remember that the world of numismatics is full of surprises and opportunities for discovery, and by paying attention to the subtle details, the doubling, the off-center strikes, the wrong planchets, the cracks, the multiple strikes, you might just uncover a rare treasure hiding in plain sight, turning an ordinary moment into a life-changing one. And the journey of this coin stands as a shining example of why collectors continue to explore, study, and cherish even the smallest pieces of currency. Because behind every coin lies the possibility of history, mystery, and unimaginable value. Last, the 1975 1 cent, said in collector legends to have commanded a staggering $269 million because of its strange and unexplainable minting errors, shocking anomalies, and the nearly mythical circumstances that make it one of the most talked about coins in numismatic storytelling. Now, while no verified auction record publicly confirms such a sale, many collectors, historians, and treasure hunters reference this story to highlight how incredibly rare mint errors can theoretically elevate the value of a simple penny into a fortune. And whether this coin is the stuff of fact, lost archives, or fantastic lore, the details behind the rumors reveal the incredible possibilities that can arise when the minting process goes wrong in the most unexpected ways. Beginning with the first mystery tied to the missing 1975 penny category, as the United States Mint officially produced no pennies dated 1975 because the master hubs shifted directly from 1974 to 1976 due to the coming bicentennial, meaning that any alleged 1975 penny would have had to emerge accidentally, perhaps from an experimental strike, a mismatched die pair, or an unauthorized test production, immediately placing such an example far outside the realm of normal circulation and guaranteeing its rarity on a level so extreme that virtually no logical comparison in modern coinage exists. And this rarity alone fuels theories that a specimen could command unthinkably high prices if verified, according to the most circulated account. The multimillion-dollar 1975 1 cent supposedly contains a blend of dramatic features: misaligned dies, doubled elements on both obverse and reverse, a dramatic off-metal composition, possibly even hints of foreign planchet traces that altered weight and tonality, and the presence of die polish lines or ghost impressions that reveal an unnerving level of mint experimentation hidden beneath the primary portrait of Lincoln, and the nature of such characteristics leads collectors to imagine how this piece could have been produced during a transitional period between 1974 and 1976, with a leftover die punched with the non-existent 1975 date, creating a coin that never should have existed, escaping unnoticed into the world. Furthermore, close observers claim that the obverse of this piece shows the iconic Lincoln portrait doubled dramatically at the nose, chin, and bow tie, while the word liberty is said to be mispunched and partially rotated, giving a skewed appearance that jumps out under magnification. And the date supposedly shows an extreme re-engraving where the 5 is abnormally sharp compared to the partially recessed 1 and 9, which are believed to have been altered during die trials. And the inside rumor suggests that two entirely different die states were involved in striking the same coin, causing a phantom outline around the numbers. An error so bizarre that even advanced mint workers would find it hard to explain. On the reverse, the story continues with the Lincoln Memorial allegedly showing signs of multiple die strikes in the center rows, with ghost columns faintly overlapping the official pillars, as though the structure was printed atop itself twice. And the words United States of America reportedly show the top stroke of the letters doubled, while E pluribus unum exhibits traces of doubling combined with partial fading due to uneven pressure during striking, a feature consistent with experimental presses but not typical of normal circulation coins. And this combination of doubling, fading, and overlapping details may imply that the coin was struck more than once with offset positioning, leading collectors to imagine that the coin's very creation was a mechanical malfunction fused with intentional trial adjustments, further fueling its mysterious reputation. The planchet itself is claimed to deviate from standard copper or copper-plated zinc composition, and enthusiasts who discuss the legendary piece speculate that this 1975 1 cent might have been struck on a foreign bronze or brass planchet intended for international contract coinage, resulting in unusual weight variance, slightly heavier than typical, and featuring a darker, richer tone that sometimes reflects subtle gold-like hues under angled light, hinting at exotic metallurgy that would make such a piece even more extraordinary. And these anomalies, along with supposed micro-engraving marks hidden between the memorial steps that suggest someone may have tested die functionality, create the sense of a coin that was never meant to be seen by the public at all, instead existing as a behind-the-curtain artifact from a transitional mint phase. But how could such a coin escape into the hands of collectors if it were truly experimental, unauthorized, or fabricated in error? The story continues with rumors that an employee during the mid-1970s may have intentionally or accidentally released a few test strikes, possibly blending them into pocket change or private collections. And while these tales remain unverified, they echo similar historic cases in which mint workers smuggled experimental coins that later became priceless rarities, like the 1933 double eagle, proving that the unimaginable can indeed occur. And if a 1975 penny truly emerged this way, it would already possess incalculable value due to its forbidden nature. Moreover, the alleged sale price of $269 million, though fantastical, illustrates how collectors view the upper limits of demand when confronted with a one-of-a-kind piece combining impossible dating, extreme visual anomalies, experimental planchet composition, and storylines so strange that its very existence challenges our understanding of minting history. And people speculate that the astronomical figure might come not from a traditional public auction, but from a private collector transaction fueled by passion, secrecy, and competition, where rarity becomes so intense that normal market logic collapses and private wealth dictates the price. The fascination with this 1975 1 cent also sparks discussions about the psychological value collectors attach to the impossible, because owning a coin that should not exist is more than a numismatic achievement. It is possession of a historical loophole, a physical paradox, a tangible impossibility. And for the wealthiest coin enthusiasts, That uniqueness alone could justify a price far beyond rational estimate, leading many to embrace the story, whether the $269 million claim is factual or exaggerated. And this blending of speculation, mystery, and technical nuance keeps the legend alive, teaching every coin hunter that careful inspection of everyday change can open doors to discoveries once thought unattainable. And so, as we look at all the quirks tied to this incredible story, the non-existent date category, the doubled obverse and reverse, the shocking planchet irregularities, the transitional mint timing, the multiple lore-rich possibilities behind how it escaped, and the staggering theoretical value, we are reminded that coin collecting is not just about metal and numbers, but storytelling, curiosity, and the thrill of finding something that defies expectation. Because whether the legendary 1975 1 cent truly sold for $269 million or simply exists as a mythical symbol of what a coin could represent, the message remains captivating. A single penny, seemingly worthless, can inspire a global hunt, ignite the imagination, and remind all of us that hidden treasures might still lurk in pockets, drawers, and forgotten boxes, waiting for the right moment to reveal their secrets to someone bold enough to look closely. And that is why collectors continue searching, studying, and dreaming, because numismatics' lives where possibility and reality collide, and the tiniest piece of copper may yet change a life forever.